Hi guys, and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we are going to make this really cool bag. It uses the cross stitch, single crochet, and the cross stitch is just made of double crochets. There is a written pattern located on my website and the link will be in the description box. So let's get started on the lesson. The yarn that I'm using in this project is from redheart.com. As you can see, this is scrap yarn that I've got left over from a previous project. I use this to make the Cakes 2 to Tango shawl, and I'll put the link for that tutorial just here on your screen. I have got various amounts left and I am going to weigh those on my scales that I have just here. But this is the yarn that I have used. If I use more yarn than this, I will put all the information on the screen for you, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be more than enough that I need for this project. But we will see what happens. I think these two colours go really well together. This is a worsted weight or a 10-ply yarn, and it would also work with a DK or a 8-ply yarn. This is a number 4 weight yarn, DK is a number 3 weight yarn. You will need to make your project bigger if you are using the DK yarn, because this yarn is a lot thicker than a DK yarn. I have 86 grams of my light grey, and this is just under half. The whole skein is about 198 grams, so I have 86 left, and my Super Saver Ombre has 176 grams left, and this was originally a 283 gram ball, and I will put the conversions into ounces on the screen for you. I don't need to put the conversion on the screen for you because I can change it on my scales. So I've got 6.16 ounces, and it started off as a 10-ounce skein, and this one started off as a 7-ounce skein, my light grey, and I have 2.98 ounces left. So like I said before, I have used more than half of this ball. If I use more yarn for this project, I will put the extra amounts on the screen for you. So you've already seen my yarn. And the other supplies we're going to need is a tape measure. It would be nice to measure it so that you can see how big it is, but if you don't have one, it's not really compulsory. You'll need a pair of scissors to cut your yarn when we're finished stitching, and also a crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 5mm crochet hook. I have loose tension, so that'll be like if I actually crocheted with a 5.5mm crochet hook. You don't want too loose tension in this project because this bag will stretch when you use it for your groceries or whatever you want to put in your bag. If you're using a DK weight yarn, which is a 8-ply or a number 3 weight yarn, I would suggest a 3.5 or a 4mm crochet hook, which is around about a G size. And I've just noticed that this crochet hook is getting dirty. You can see on the ends here it's getting just dirty from using it. I think I've had these for about 4 years. So yeah, I haven't actually cleaned this one before. So a little tip, this is just a baby wipe, just a cheap one from the store. It's not a brand name, it's just the home brand or the store brand that they have. And you just need to wipe it over it so you can see the dirt that's on the end there, which is gross. You just need to wipe it. And it comes off. It comes off really easy. But when I'm filming, I usually notice that they're dirty, and that's when I'll just give them a quick clean. So I'll just give it a really quick clean. I'm sure I didn't get all of it off. That's a bit of fluff that's stuck on there, but it looks much better. You can see I've missed a bit there, but like I say, it looks much better, and the baby wipes work really well. I'm sure warm water and a little bit of, we call it washing up detergent. You might call it fairy liquid, but the soapy stuff you use when you wash your dishes. If anyone does it that way anymore. We don't have a dishwasher, so we have to do it by hand. So I am going to be using the ombre for my main part of my bag, and then my grey yarn, which is a light grey in the Super Saver, I'm going to be using that for the edging and the handles of my bag. If you would like to purchase this yarn, there is an affiliate link located in the description box of this video. If you make a purchase via that link, I will get a little commission. It's no extra cost to you, but it does help keep my videos and my written patterns going. So thank you in advance if you decide to make a purchase. Of course, you can purchase any of the Red Heart yarn over on their website. So to start off, we're just going to make a slip knot, and you can make that any way that you make your slip knot. I'm sure there's hundreds of different ways to do that. And just left a little tail there. And for this project, I am going to be using the foundation double crochet. If you would like a more in-depth video for this stitch, I will going to put a link in just up here, and that will show you how to do this more in depth. I'm not going to take a lot of time to show you how to do this, but like I said, if you've never done it before and this is a little bit difficult to follow, then that is a more step-by-step video tutorial for you. You can also use a chain stitch and then double crochet back across. I'm going to put the multiple on the screen because off the top of my head I cannot think what it's going to be. But it will be in multiples of 2, and then you're going to have to add something to the end for your turning chain. Yeah, so it'll be across the screen. So to do our foundation double crochet, we can chain 3. Into the very first chain, we're going to make a double crochet, but we're also going to make our chain at the same time. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go into the first chain with our crochet hook. We're going to pull up a loop, and then we're going to make a chain stitch. So we're just going to yarn over and pull through again, and we've got our chain just there. Now we are going to complete a double crochet. So we're going to go yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. We are now going to go back into the chain that we made, not this little hole here, the chain that is just there. Like I said, this is where, if you've never done it before, the video tutorial that has popped up in the corner here, if it's not there now, just click or hover over here with your mouse, or just tap your screen if you're on a mobile device, and it should pop up, and it will be in that description thing that pops up on the edge. So into our chain, we're going to yarn over, and we're going to do our chain stitch. So we're going to go into the chain. So this is the bit that you may not be able to see properly on this tutorial. You're going to go through 2 loops. You must go through 2 loops, and you're going to yarn over, pull through. We want to make our chain stitch first. We're going to yarn over and do our chain, which is there. And now we're going to complete our double crochet stitch by yarning over, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 loops. If I'm going too fast, you can slow me down in the settings. Somewhere down here, maybe on a PC, or up here somewhere on your phone, you can click on the settings and there will be a speed option, and you can slow me down. I'm going to sound really strange because I'll be talking slow, but it will slow down the video, and I think you can slow it right down. There won't be any sound, but it'll definitely be able to see what you're doing. So one more time, yarn over, go into the chain, and we're going to go through 2 loops. See how there's 2 loops there? My fingers kind of cover it up because I'm trying to hold it. We'll see 2 loops there. You're going to go through both, yarn over, pull up. We're going to do a chain stitch, so yarn over, pull through, a chain's there, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And we are going to complete this till we have double crochets in multiples of 2, because our cross stitch is worked on in multiples of 2 stitches, and then we need 1 for the beginning, which will be a double crochet or a chain 3, and then you'll need 1 for the end, which will be a double crochet. And that is what it looks like. It's worked sideways, so it does look a bit weird, but once you put it the right way, it just looks like double crochets into chains. But this bottom edge here, I think, looks so much neater. And yeah, so the chain 3 at the start here, that is our first stitch. So we want multiples of 2, so it'll be divisible by 2. So you might have 20 or 22, 24, 26. So pause the video and just double check that the amount of stitches you have can be divided by 2. Doesn't matter if you need to add one or take one out, then it'll be fine. We want to keep going until our foundation double crochets are 24 inches or 60 centimeters long. For me, that was 70 double crochet foundation stitches, and that includes that beginning chain 3 there. So like I said, if you are using the chain and then you're going to double crochet back across, there will be a multiple on the screen, because I still cannot think of what that is off the top of my head. Oh dear. I know it'll be 70 chains, but there'll be an adding bit on the end. And I cannot remember if it's 2 or 3 that you add. But not to worry, it will be on the screen and you will know all the information. So like I said, we have 70 stitches and that is 24 inches long. Now when I've measured it, let me just get my tape measure, and this is that tape measure that retracts on itself, so get ready for me to be scared by it. Here's hoping that it doesn't. Got my arm leaning on it so it can't retract. When I've measured it, this is going to go off camera because it's too big, but I'm going to find my 24-inch mark. And as you can see there, see how it's not against the tape measure, but I'm stretching it out and it's becoming 24 inches. I wish I could show that all on the screen. I don't think I can. I'll do it this way. I'm stretching it out, I'm holding the other end to the other end of the tape measure, and it's 24 inches. The reason I've stretched it for this project is because this is a bag, this is going to stretch when you put your items in there, especially if they're heavy, like cans of food or fruit and vegetables or something like that. So we want to stretch it out so that we know if we make it unstretched, it's actually going to stretch out way more than what we actually need it to. So I have my 70 stitches, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn around and go back the other way. So let's fix that up there. And we're going to start with a chain 3. You could also use a alternative double crochet if you prefer, but I'm just going to use a chain 3. For our cross stitch, we skip the next stitch. So this one here has already been done because that there is our first stitch. The second stitch, let's get something to point with. This makes it easier, my fingers get in the way. So this one is the first stitch because it's our chain 3 or alternative double crochet. This one here is our second stitch, and this one here is our third stitch. So for our cross stitch, we skip a stitch, which will be this one, and we double crochet in the next one. Then we double crochet in the one that we skipped. So let's do that now. So we're going to skip a stitch, which is there, and double crochet in the next one. And this is how it becomes cross, because when we do our next double crochet, we go back to the one that we skipped and work a double crochet. We now skip a stitch. You can see that this one here, if you're not sure that if you've done that one, if you just pull that across, if we can do that, pull it across, you'll notice that there's actually a stitch there. You'll be able to see it, it's crocheted around. So you'll be seeing that a lot better on your own work than you can on mine. You'll be skipping this one and going into the next one for a double crochet. And in the one that we've skipped, which is here, we're going to work a double crochet. And we repeat this all the way across. So we're going to skip a stitch. So skip this one, double crochet in the next. The one that we've skipped, which is there, we're going to double crochet in that one. And repeating all the way across, so skip one, double crochet in the next, and double crochet in the one that we skipped. So pause the video and repeat this all the way across, and if we've counted correctly, we will have one stitch left and we're going to work a double crochet into that stitch. When we get to the end, we're going to work a double crochet in the last stitch. It can actually look like there isn't a stitch there, but there is a chain that we worked at the beginning, and we need to double crochet in the top of that. So this stitch here is where we're going to work a double crochet. So we are going to repeat this row for the remainder of our project. We are going to turn our work and we are going to work our chained 3 or our alternative double crochet. You could also chain 2 there. Sometimes I do chain 2 at the beginning of projects when I'm working a double crochet sometimes, but I'm going to stick with the chain 3 for this one. And we're going to work a cross stitch, and our cross stitches are all going to stack up, so because we're working into the 2 stitches that we work down here. So we're going to skip a stitch. We've already worked this one, we're going to skip that one and double crochet in the next, and we're going to double crochet in the one that we skipped, which is just there. So when you're working your way across, you'll notice that your cross stitches are stacked on top of each other. If you get to a point and you're using maybe this double crochet and this double crochet, you know somewhere you've done a mistake because you're overlapping. You want your cross stitches to be stacked on top of each other. So I'll just show you one more time. So we're going to skip this stitch and double crochet in the next. Why is it that your yarn cannot get stuck any other time, but when you start that video camera, your yarn gets stuck? I think it's called Murphy's Law. And like I said, the one we skipped, we're going to double crochet into that. I'll show you one more time that's not interrupted by yarn getting stuck. Skip one, double crochet in the next, and then double crochet in the skipped stitch. We are going to repeat what we did on the previous row, so we are going to cross stitch all the way across. When we get to the last stitch, which is our chain 3 or your very first double crochet from the row before, you're going to double crochet into the top of that. So we're going to continue until our work is almost square, and in the next part of the video, when I've completed this will make total sense. And just before it becomes square, we want to stop because we want to work one more row of double crochet so that it looks the same at the beginning here and then also at the end when we've done all our work. So continue on. In the next part of the video, I will have this piece finished and we're going to work one row of double crochet. As you can see, it's not quite square. If that was square, then this edge would be over there. But I'm about to run out of yarn and I don't really want to use a new skein just to add like 1 or 2 rows to it. So this is going to be perfectly fine. Like I said, it's got to be close to square and that'll be close. I'm hoping I don't run out of yarn on my last row. Our last row is going to be just double crochet. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. So I'm hoping that's going to be enough. And to check it's square, all you need to do is you just need to fold it over. Look at the colour change in that yarn, it's beautiful. Just grab one corner and then just line it up with that top edge, and then this edge should line up with that one. But as you can see, it's not quite lining up, but that's okay. To finish off the top edge, all we're going to do is double crochet all the way across. So I've done my chain 3, I think. Is that 3 or 2? I've now done my chain 3, and we're just going to double crochet in each stitch across. So don't skip that one that we normally skip. We're going to double crochet in every stitch across. Keep your fingers crossed that I win a yarn chicken. So pause the video and I'll meet you when we are up the other side. Yarn Chicken for the win! I'm very excited that I won that one. Sometimes it doesn't end so well. So to finish off, we're just going to grab our yarn and pull it through our last loop. I'm just going to pull that all the way through. And then just do that to tighten off our stitch. I'm just going to cut my yarn off because this is ridiculous now. And that was the last of that ball, so I think that's pretty good. This could go in for stuffing for toys, if you chop it up into pieces. It could be a little bit of a scrap project, not very much there, but I'm sure we'll find something for it. Now we don't need to sew in our ends because we can crochet over these as we add the edging. So now your project will be somewhat square. This is very close to it. If it's rectangle, it doesn't really matter either. But there's going to be 4 sides, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4. The side that we just did that has the double crochet along the top, this is pretty much where we just finished off. And then this down here, which was our starting row, these are the top of our bag. So once folded up, you can see that that's the top of our bag, and this will be the sides of our bag. That is going to stretch out a lot more once we put items in our bag, but the edges with the double crochet, this is our beginning edge and that is the last row that we did. They are going to be the tops of our bag. So if you grab a stitch marker, put one on this row of double crochet and then the other row of double crochet, and that'll remind us that the ones with the stitch markers are the tops of our bag. We decrease a lot more along the sides of the bag than what we do across the top. So you can see here I have a stitch marker attached there and up there, and that is just to remind me what is the top and then what is the bottom. What we're going to do now is join our contrast colour where we finished off previously. If you're using the same colour, then you will have your yarn still attached to your project. And we are going to work our way down this edge. That does not look very straight, but it is. There's no stitches missing. We're going to work our way down the edge here and then work our way across. We're just going to be working on the one side, so we're not going to keep going and go around. We're just working on one end. So we're working on the ends of our bag first. Here is where I finished off my yarn. If you're using the same colour for your handles, then your yarn will still be attached. We're going to attach our new yarn into the corner there. Of course, if you're using the same colour, you won't have to worry about this part. I'm just going to do a chain to secure that in there. Pull down on the short piece at the back. We're going to work single crochet all the way across, and we're going to put 2 single crochet into each space on the end. So we're going to single crochet in there. I'm going to do that twice. And single crochet in there twice. I am crocheting over my tails as I go, so I've got less ends to sew in. I could have crocheted over that as well, but that's okay. I'm going to just put 2 in each space. Now this may make it curve over like that, but that's okay because we are going to be decreasing on the sides, on all the sides, so it's not going to matter if it does not lay flat. So in each space across, so this is just the space between the first or last double crochet of our row and then the very first set of cross stitches, which is our 2 double crochet stitches that we crossed over. So we're going to work that all the way across. I'm just going to see Mine's actually laying flat, so it doesn't really matter. What's this? Oh, that's the end. Just going to be working along one side, so when we get to the end we're going to stop, turn and go the other way, but I'll meet you when we're at the end of the row. When we get to the end of the row, we're going to turn our work around and we're going to crochet back along the row where our single crochets are. So chain 1. In every single stitch we are going to work a single crochet decrease. So ignoring the chain 1, that was just to get us to the right spot. You go into the very first stitch, pull up a loop, leave 2 loops on your crochet hook, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, leave the 3 loops like that, going to yarn over and then pull through all 3 loops. So what we're doing is we're decreasing every stitch across. So into the next stitch we're going to go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, leave the 2 loops, in the next stitch yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Again, into the stitch, pull up a loop, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And this will definitely start to gather as we work our way across. Into the next stitch, pull up a loop, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Work your way across and I'll meet you when we get to the other end. So I got to the end and I've turned my work around and you'll notice the edges are starting to get smaller, and we're going to do that again. We're going to work a chain 1 and we're going to single crochet decrease in every stitch across. Pause the video and I'll meet you when we are at the other end. So you can see now that it's starting to gather, and that's what it's supposed to look like. And I'm at the end of my row and I want to turn my work around. And to finish off this side, what we're going to do is chain 1 and we're just going to work a single crochet in every stitch across. And I think that just neatens off the edge. So I've turned my work around and just ignore that chain I just did. I accidentally cut my yarn off, but you won't need to. So we're going to work 1 row of single crochet back across the row. By doing the 2 rows of single crochet that we are doing now, this will bring us to the right side of the pattern, and that's why I've just cut my yarn, because I've just got further down in the pattern and realised that we need 2 rows to bring it to our right side. And then you're going to repeat for the other side what we've just done here. This is the side when we finished, this is the last row that we finished with our double crochets all the way across the top of our cross stitches. So we want to make sure that we start on this same side, because we started over here with our crochet. We started there because that's our yarn tail. So if we, at the moment I've got my decrease rows on my right hand side, left hand side. So I'm going to go, so it's on my it's on my left hand side. Oh, I don't know my left and my right. Left hand side, and if I pull that up like that, I'm looking at the good side of the crochet. I finished over this side and I'm keeping it all like that. And I'm just going to grab the edge, which is where we need to work across, and I'm going to join in here. And by the looks of this, this is our starting row, and this is where we very first started our chain. So if you haven't sewn that in, that's where it will be. But if I look at it up here, my end chain, my end tail where I finished off the blue section, is up on this left hand side. It's really hard to show you how it needs to be in such a small camera space. Another little hint I could show you is when we are going to be working along this edge. Obviously we're going to start over that end, but when I'm looking at this is the good side, the right side of the last row. So I hope that helps you. And if you're looking at our foundation crochet, this is the right side of our foundation crochet, and my starting tail is at the top right hand side. So we're going to repeat what we did on the other end. So we single crocheted in each space and we did 2. Our next row was our single crochet decrease, and then we did 2 of those, and then we did 1 row of single crochet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a timestamp on the screen, which I have to remember to do when I'm editing, and that will let you know if you need to rewind the video where to go back to repeat the instructions for this edging. So pause the video and I'll meet you when we have the second side finished. So when we finished our second side, we are now ready to work along the edges of our bag. So this will be the top edges of our bag. And when we look at our work, it is facing the right way, and we will have the good side of the double crochet facing us. And what we're going to do is we've just worked this edge, and we're going to work along one of the top sides of our bag. Mine just happens to be the very last row we crocheted on our cross stitch section, which is the main part of our bag, but you may be looking at the bottom, the very first row that we did for the cross stitch of the bag. It doesn't matter because we're going to do the exact same thing on both sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet all the way across, and we are just going to put some stitches in the side of our work here. There won't be an exact spot to go because it is the end of the row, but just sort of poke your hook in there. And that just needs to be pulled down a little bit. And we're going to work across the top here. And now we're just working into the very last row that we did on the main part of the bag. So this is easy peasy. We're going to single crochet all the way across. We are not going to turn a corner or anything. We're going to work all the way across. When we get to the other side, there'll actually be the grey section or the sides of the bag, and I'll show you what to do when we get to the end here. So pause the video and I'll meet you at the end. Once we get to the other ends, you can see we're coming across here and we've got the edge of our bag, and that's the end of our row there. So we're just going to single crochet across, and again there's not really a spot to put our crochet hook, so we're just going to poke it in there. There's 4 rows, so you might be able to get 4 stitches across the end. Like that. So now we're going to work our way back across the row, and we're going to go this way. And what we're doing is we are doing similar to what we did on the sides of the bag. So I'm just going to spin my work around. This project's getting quite big to fit in front of the camera, as you can tell. But the difference that we do on the tops of the bag is we are only going to do 1 row of the decreasing. So we want to do a single crochet decrease all the way across for this row. So we're going to go in, pull up a loop, in, pull up a loop. You already know how to do this because you just did a whole stack on the other side. So you're going to do your single crochet decrease. Whoop. Make sure you keep your loops on your crochet hook. And crochet all the way across. So pause the video and I'll meet you when we are at the other end. And when we get to the other end, there will be you'll be single crocheting across or decreasing across on that grey section on the other end as well. So pause the video and I'll see you there. When we get to the end, we are going to single crochet in 4 stitches. So I've finished my blue ones, and then I'm going to go 4 into this grey section. So we are going to turn our work, so we can do a chain 1 and turn, or you can turn and chain 1, whatever you prefer to do. And we're going to work our way back across. And we only do 1 row of single crochet 2 together, or decreasing. If you want to, you can work another one, but I think that's going to make our bag way too narrow at the top. Or you could do a single crochet decrease every 2nd stitch across if you wanted to just decrease it a little bit, but I am just going to keep mine as is. I was just looking at that just to make sure. So now I'm going to work 3 rows of single crochet, and we're going to single crochet in the first stitch and every stitch across. When we get to the end, we're going to turn one, that's not even a thing, turn and chain 1 and work our way back across like we're doing for this row that we're doing right now. And it will start to work its way up, and that is going to create the top of our bag. So pause the video and I'll see you when we have our 3 rows of single crochet complete. I've finished the first one, and I have a row of single crochet, a row of decreases, and then 3 rows of single crochet. So we can finish off our yarn now, and then we're going to do the same for the other side. So it's 1 row of single crochet across, 1 row of decrease, and then 3 rows of single crochet. When you get to the end, do not cut your yarn off, because we are going to continue on and we're going to make the handles. Again, I will put a time stamp across the screen so that if you need to go back and rewatch the video, you can, and you'll have all the instructions there again. When we join on the other side here, you're going to join on the corner. It doesn't really look like a corner because you're going to crochet across the ends of the row. But if you look here, you can see the crochet coming across, and it ends there. That's our corner. So we're going to join our crochet hook into there somehow. There we go. And then crochet across and complete our other top of the bag. Complete the other side, and I'll meet you when we're ready for the handles. I thought I would show you what my bag looks like so far, and we are just about to add the handles. My yarn is still attached over here, and I've just finished on a right side row. That means that this row we just did is looking at us, and it's a right side, and this is the right side of the work because our double crochets there are the right side. We are now going to crochet. Our yarn is still attached, and we're going to go crochet around the edge, which is the side of our bag. We're going to add a handle, we're going to crochet around the edge, add another handle, and then we're going to crochet right around. We're almost finished, guys. We've just got to add our handle, so very, very exciting. Now that's a lot of crochet in the screen, but I've left it like that. We're going to crochet along the edge. This is the side of our bag, and then that is the tops of our bag, and that is the other side of our bag, just to let you know how our bag is situated. So we're just going to crochet along the short edge at the moment, which is the side of our bag, and we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. We're just going to work along, and we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch. At the moment it's just on the sides, so we're just going to poke our crochet hook in there where we think a stitch should be made. These are just some ends I'm going to crochet over as I go. So as we go along, we will get to the side of the bag, and then you can see we can just crochet normally into the stitches that are there. So crochet all the way across until we get to the end. I'll just leave this going not very far, I don't think. Actually, it is a little way, so pause the video and I'll meet you when we're just over on the other side. I have crocheted all the way across. Ignore that, that's just one of my ends I need to trim off. So I've crocheted all the way across. Now we are going to make the handles for our bag. And we're going to start with a chain. This depends on how big you want your handles. I'm not sure how big I want mine yet, so I'm just going to make a chain and I'm going to count them, and then I'm going to let you know how many I have done. And when you've done your chain, you need to write it down, unless you've got a very good memory, because we do need to remember. So I'm going to make my chain and I will come back and let you know how many I've done. I have made 50 stitches, 50 stitches, and I've done 50 chains. And you can see that it was started over here, and now this is the top section of our bag, the long side of our bag. We're going to work all the way across, and we're going to single crochet, ignore that end there, single crochet into the stitch that is on the end here, and we're going to complete the side of the bag. So mine's still on my crochet hook. I'm going to single crochet. Oh, very important, make sure it's not twisted. So just make sure all the stitches are facing you, looking good, and single crochet. This is the side of our bag. This thing is getting huge to fit in front of the camera. In a perfect world, I'd have a perfect setup. I'm going to single crochet, and we're going to single crochet all the way along the edge, and this is the side of our bag that we are working at the moment. And we're going to crochet along until we get to the other side, until we get to the end, which I cannot see because I have so much crochet in front of me. It's all blaring into one. There we go. We're going to crochet, we are on our short side at the moment, which is the side of our bag, and we're going to crochet all the way to this side over here. Pause the video and I'll meet you there. That's where I've joined my chain and I've crocheted all the way across. Now I'm going to do my chain again, and if you can remember yours, mine's easy to remember because it's 10 years older than what I am, is 50 chains. If you've done a different amount of chains, then I want you to complete that now. So pause the video and I'll see you when we're ready to join this second bag handle. I have my 50 chains and it's attached where I started here, and this is the long side of our bag, which is the top, and we are going to find the other side, which is over here, and we're going to join our crochet. I'm just making sure it's not twisted. Nope. And I'm going to join into the edge there. Yay, we both now have our handles attached. Obviously they're a bit too thin, so we need to crochet around. So let's grab a stitch marker. This is just to remind me when to stop, and it's also probably going to help you remember when to stop as well. I'm just going to put it in there just so I see it when I come back around, and I know this is the beginning of our round because now we are going to be working in rounds instead of rows. And what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet around the short edge. When we get to our chain, we're going to single crochet in each chain across. So you will have, for me, I'll have 50 single crochets. You may have a different amount. Then we are going to single crochet around the other short side of our bag, and then we are going to crochet into our chain all the way, and then we're going to join at the end. And I think you can do that by yourself, because one more time I'll just show you, single crochet across. We've already done that. That's very, very easy. And as you come along here, you'll notice our chain starts. So you'll be single crocheting across, and then you're just going to get to your chain and single crochet into each chain. Again, when you get to the end of that chain, which will be all the way over here, you'll be at the side of your bag again. You're going to single crochet all the way until your next chain starts, and then again you're going to single crochet into each chain. You can definitely do that by yourself, because if you've got this far in the pattern, you know how to single crochet, and if you can do this pattern, you know how to single crochet into a chain. So pause the video and I will meet you when we are at the end of this round. When we get to the end, you can see I have my stitch marker here. We're going to join into the very first single crochet that we did. Going to go under 2 loops and then just make a slip stitch. Ugh. Made that look hard. A slip stitch, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet into the same stitch. Really? Is it really that hard? No, it's not. Single crochet, and we're going to single crochet in every stitch around. When we get to our handles, we're just going to single crochet into the single crochets. And you can repeat this for as many rounds as you like. I'm going to do 2, but for now we just want to work, I'm going to move that stitch marker there. We're just going to work 1 round of single crochet, and like I said, you can do more if you like, completely up to you. So pause the video and I'll meet you at the end when we are ready to crochet on the inside of our handles. I am at the end of the round and I am going to join with a slip stitch to the very first single crochet, and I'm going to finish off here. Like I said, you can do more rounds if you want to, it's completely up to you. I'm going to finish that off. So what we can do around the inside of our handles to stop it from stretching is we can add a slip stitch round. So you want to grab your yarn and you can join anywhere just in here on one of the corners. Just want to join our yarn in. And what we're going to do is slip stitch all the way around, and we're just going to work in there and slip stitch. Slip stitch. Oops. Trying to do a single crochet. So repeat all the way across, and I'll show you what we do when we get to our handles. It's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to slip stitch around, but I'll show you just in case you have trouble. Pause the video and I'll see you there. I am up to where my handle comes off my bag, and I'm just going to grab my yarn and I'm going to slip stitch in the next available stitch. So this is working into the chain that we single crocheted into. So we're just going to slip stitch our way around. Hang on, I can't see what I've done there. I need to do that again. I'm just slip stitching into the chain that we worked into, so that's the available loop of the chain that we didn't work around, and I'm just going to work a slip stitch. Don't do them too tight because it will make it gather all up together, but just continue on. I'll meet you when we're ready to join at the end of this round, which is where we started the slip stitching. So pause the video and I'll see you there. So I've just worked slip stitching down the handle here, and I'm just coming around, and this is where we started. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the very first slip stitch that we did. And pull that tight. Cut off our yarn about 2 to 3 inches. And then pull that through. We just need to sew in our ends, and then do the same thing on the other side for the other bag. It's a bit Kiwi. The other bag handle. So do the other side, and yeah, we're pretty much done. I really hope you enjoyed that video tutorial. Thanks for watching. Please share your creations on our Facebook page and also tag me on Instagram. I'd love to know what colours you have made, so leave your details in the comments section. What do you like to make during summer? I'd love to know. You can also leave that in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy crochet!